Okay, guys, welcome to episode 1 of Hunt and Harvest podcast. This is my pilot episode. I have never done a podcast for the series that I am starting, and I've got a few notes here with me. I just want to talk about the hunt that we just went on. And if you guys have not seen that video yet, you can click the link in my description or the button at the end of this video if you're on YouTube and watch the full episode 1 there. But this is the podcast related to that series that I've started, and we just got back from a South Dakota duck hunt trip. It was almost a full week of hunting. Went from North Carolina to South Dakota. It was around Webster in that area, and it was awesome. It was a really good time. We did 4 separate hunts. We did not hunt Monday, the day after we got there, because it was so foggy and so freezing cold that it didn't seem like the ducks were going to fly based on what our friend out there told us. And so we just scouted all day because it's so different from duck hunting in North Carolina. What you do is you basically, if you don't have land out there already, you're just going out there with a couple of trucks, some guys, and a bunch of gear, and you're driving around these roads trying to find parcels where people are where people have a bunch of ducks, and then you go and you research that person on OnX Hunt, or if they have a house nearby, you go and knock on their door or give them a call if you can find it online and ask them nicely if they'll let you duck hunt their cornfield. It's just basically all corn out there. There's some cattle, some beans, but it's pretty much all corn. So it's so wildly different from what I'm used to here in southeastern United States. It's just like if someone were to do what we did in South Dakota here, you would just get shot or yelled at or just told no immediately, and you wouldn't even be worth asking, really. But this was a really cool trip, and I was with my best friend Harrison, who's going to be my best man at my wedding, and I was with 2 of his really good friends who are now really good friends of mine, Matt and Mike, and their brothers. And then we met. The reason we chose South Dakota and Webster was because there's a family friend of Matt and Mike that lives out there, and he's going to be an optometrist, really good guy, and he knows duck hunting. You wouldn't think it when you see the guy, but he is freaking awesome. He was just we had the best time, and it was so special because I don't leave home very much, and I like being home, working on the farm and doing stuff, and I don't like leaving as much. I was homesick immediately, and so it was just really good to get over that and have a good time with friends and have several amazing hunts. Not every day was like a 5-man limit, which is, in my head what I'm thinking we're going out there to do, but we had a couple of limits and some decent days compared to North Carolina duck hunting. If any of you guys have ever done any duck hunting in North Carolina or in this area, you know that going to South Dakota, it's going to be night and day difference. So that was really awesome. And got a couple things that I wrote down here that I'd like to talk about, but I wanted to do this podcast with all the guys post-hunt, but we had such limited time to sit down and be together and do this. It was just tons of scouting. So what I'm going to do here is really just talk about the hunt and what it meant to me and what hunting means to me, and just a little bit about this series that I plan on starting. And if you guys wouldn't mind, drop a like, comment, subscribe. And if you are coming from my other YouTube channel, I really appreciate you. That is so cool that someone would not only watch me on my personal channel, but then come here and listen to a podcast or, watch one of these hunting and agricultural related content videos. So, and if you guys are new, go to my other channel, which will also have a link in the description, Greer White, at Greer White on YouTube, at Greer_White for TikTok, Instagram, and all that. But, go check out my personal channel. That is basically lifestyle vlogs, the things I do out here on the farm. But I am a wannabe peach farmer. I've got some land here with my family, and I'm starting a peach farm. And I've named it after myself and my fiance, who's actually right here doing a calendar. And she and I have named the farm GNC Peaches, and we're going to be growing peaches. And now we've started a cut flower plot. There's videos on that, so that's really what that channel is all about. So if you guys want to go over there and check stuff out there. But this series, Hunt and Harvest, is going to be about hunting and agriculture. So we're going to do content related, hunting trips or farm tours or, things like that, where of that nature, where we're going to be meeting with farmers, and then we're going to be sitting down and doing a podcast with them after, asking them questions, getting their life story, and, getting insights into what their operation is like, and something similar content related for the hunting piece. Any hunting adventures I go on, whether it's solo or a group, it could just be me and Cooper. It's really, I'm not creating any box for myself here, and I don't want to create a box for myself. I really want this to be a space, a channel for me to create something that is focused around two of my favorite things that I'm passionate about hunting and agriculture. So if that is something you guys are interested in, I think that we're going to have some really cool stuff for you, as time goes on. So I really appreciate you guys, anyone watching this. So one of the things I wanted to go over was basic things. This is probably a really short podcast, but what hunting means to me. And hunting, I've been hunting since I was 7 years old. I killed my first deer when I was 7. I've been shooting since I was like 4 or 5. My dad has been teaching me gun safety and having me handle guns ever since I was very little. Out at the farm, a family friend farm, depredation, deer hunting. My dad would go out and do that. He'd take me and my sister, and we'd shoot 22s at plank targets, and we'd run go-karts. And, it was a really good time growing up. I've been around guns and hunting my whole life. Killed my first deer when I was 7 on this farm here at 118 yards with a 223, and put him down. It's actually in the corner of my peach orchard. If you guys have watched any of my other videos, it's in the corner of my first plot here behind our house that, wasn't there when I killed that deer. This property looked a lot different back in 2008, but it's just, I've been doing this forever, and hunting has been something that's very special in my life, and I can't remember a year since then that it hasn't been a staple of my life. So, I'll never stop doing it so long as I can. It just means so much to me, and I love eating the meat. The meat is so good. I love ducks. I love deer. I have so much more hunting that I want to experience and do, because you get to see all these guys online like Tim Wells, do crazy things, shooting spears at, antelopes in New Zealand, hippos in Africa. I'm not so certain I want to be above a hippo in Africa to save the villagers, but, that's a really cool experience, and I just have so many things I want to do in that arena, and I'm hoping that, maybe this will lead to some things like that down the line. But I also just love documenting my hunts, and like last season, Cooper, my fiance, killed her first turkey, and I was filming, it was my like third or so YouTube video, and got it all on camera with my iPhone and a tripod, and it's just, it's been fun. And I really want to keep doing this and create something that I can have dialed in for hunting and agriculture. So, this channel is perfect for that. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but this is my first podcast that I've ever done. But let me get back to what hunting means to me. Is that it's just, I think if you can do it, you should. And if you think that, I think it's just something that's very human and important. It has taught me so many things about being a man and being a human, and the circle of life, and where food comes from. It comes from hunting, it comes from agriculture. Without those two things, no one's really eating any food. And I know that a lot of us go to grocery stores now, and you don't need to go kill your dinner, and neither do I. I could just go to the store and let someone else butcher it and sell, package it and sell it to me. But as a farmer and as a hunter, I want to always be pushing myself to produce more and to hunt more and do more and experience more, because you only have one life, and I just think that this is a valuable pursuit. It might be something else for you. It might be skateboarding. I don't know, this might be a terrible example, but that it just means so much to me that I've been doing it for so long. I don't know where I'd be without it. I would not be the same human being that I am now. And yeah, this is gonna be a really short podcast. What I wanted to talk about was South Dakota just a little bit more, even though that's probably what it should all be about. But it was really just a pilot episode. But would I do this trip again? We did drive out there, and we took a ton of gear. So much. We took a rental truck. Matt and Mike picked me up here. We took a rental truck from here at last Saturday at like 5:30 in the morning, drove all the way to Indianapolis, picked up Harrison because he was coming from DC. We moved our week up for the hunting week because we had our non-resident licenses or permits scheduled for next week. This week is where we were supposed to be going, but we moved it up. Harrison had an obligation, so we met him in Indianapolis, picked him up. We had so much stuff in that truck, and the rental company only had that truck available when Mike went to pick it up, so it was actually not ideal. That truck was boof. It did not have cruise control. It was a short bed 1500 Ram Classic. It wasn't the worst truck ever, but it was not what you want for a 22 and a half hour drive one way. So once we got to Indianapolis, we made it with Harrison in that garbage truck to Minneapolis. And we swapped it for a Ford F-150 XLT 4x4. It was really nice. Crew cab. Ford's got the better standard bed length, so that was ideal. And we also picked up another one because we knew we were going to be putting a ton of miles on in South Dakota scouting. So we picked up two almost identical Fords and rode them so hard. And then freaking got Grant, the guy who's out there who lives near South Dakota, or in South Dakota, the optometrist that I mentioned earlier, or soon to be, he's got a 4Runner and an enclosed trailer that was filled with, layout blinds, decoys, dive bombs, the geese, everything. Without him, Grant, if you're watching this, I hope you are, thank you so much, man. That was an incredible trip, and you made it all possible because we don't even have those kinds of decoys here for North Carolina hunting, and taking it logistically all the way out there would just be horrible. So you really saved us, and it was just the best time. So shout out to him for that. But once we got there, we just scouted our butts off, and we had a bunch of people say no. We actually got someone got pissed at me and Matt when we were going down their property, their road, because it's weird. Like, you can't really tell what road is like public and private because the gravel roads that are big enough for the combines to fit down are streets. Like, that's a maintained government road, and then right next, there's a turnoff like here and here, and then one of those turnoffs, kind of turns into someone's private road, but it's connected to the government road. It's not marked, And so we went down there. I turned around and came, was because no one was there. I was like giving up on trying to find that guy right there, and then he was coming down the road, and he got pissed. He was like, "I don't want to catch it again. This is a private turnaround. You can't do this." I was like, I just didn't even ask him about duck hunting a spot. I was like, man, I didn't know, didn't mean to. It was an accident, and we rolled off. But, I can't blame him for being condescending or rude to us. If someone did that in the South, did what we did in the South, it would be treated much worse. So, honestly, he was kind compared to what would happen here. But everyone, it's so different. I can't explain the permission game and hunting and doing and finding that access. A lot of people out there are so kind, and we did once we got a couple of yeses, it just changed the whole game. Because that Thursday evening hunt, when you watch the video, man, it was just gorgeous. Same with the Friday morning hunt. That's God's work displayed at maximum. That is gorgeous. The mallards shining in the sun with the freaking orange feet dangling, green heads, widgeon, pintail, the chocolate tops freaking flying all about, working hundreds and hundreds of birds, thousands of birds at one time, and just whacking them. Oh, ringer's on. Excuse me. Absolutely whacking them. So if you guys like watching ducks and duck hunting, I have insane footage for that. So go watch the content episode tied to this podcast. I haven't even made the video yet. I got back last night, but I know it's going to be incredible footage. And yeah, I don't even know if I finished telling you what hunting means to me, but if you can do it, it's worth it. I'm sure if this popped up on your For You page on YouTube or Spotify, this is probably something you already enjoy doing, so you get it. And I'm just thankful for anyone who has watched this video. And, I don't know what's next exactly. I need to kill a few deer here at home. I've eaten all the deer meat, so we're out. I'd like to shoot an elk. I'd like to do all these things. So there's hopefully a lot of big things on the horizon, but if you like talking about hunting and agriculture, this is the channel. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with your friends who are interested in these type of things. And just know that next episode 2 of Hunt and Harvest, is actually going to be a farm tour. So we're going to go South Dakota duck hunt to a farm tour. The farm is going to be Lakeview Pecans in Bailey, North Carolina. It is a dear friend of mine and mentor, Ben Bird, and he has a gorgeous 100-acre pecan farm. And I just, hopefully we can sit down and not be interrupted so much by the customers coming and buying pecans, because it is almost Thanksgiving at the time of this recording. So, he's really busy, but I'm going to be hanging out with him for a few days this week and do some filming. Me and Cooper are going to do some filming, then we're going to sit down, hopefully do a podcast. And that'll be my first non-solo podcast, and this is my first podcast ever. So I just appreciate you guys, and thanks for watching. And see you next time.